Hello YouTube, and welcome to the first part of the build on the Tamiya TT-02. Before we get into the build, you want to make sure you've got all the tools you need to complete it. Now on the first page of the instructions, they give you the list down here of what is pretty much required to do the build. So I just wanted to go through a few and make sure that you as a builder have the right tools at the start to make this job as easy as possible. So the first thing that you'll naturally need is to have your radio ready if you're building the kit with a receiver. As there is a speed controller and motor in the kit, we won't need that, but you will need to pick yourself up a servo of some sort. This is an old Savox I've had laying around out of a race car, but it's not doing anything else, so I can go into this car. That's pretty much for the radio system. The other thing you want to make sure you get is have a battery ready so you can center your servo before you put it in with the right type of connector for your speed controller. Now for this build up, I'm just going to use the standard Tamiya connector. I normally run a Dean's plug, but just for showing how a first timer would approach this, we'll leave this standard connector on. Now as far as tools, you're told you need a big and a small Phillips head screwdriver. Now, before you start the build, make sure the screwdriver fits your the screws correctly. Tamiya do use something called a posi drive Phillips head, and a lot of your standard El Cheapo screwdrivers, when you put it in, you'll feel that they wobble around a lot. Whereas when you get the right screwdriver, there'll be no play in there. Very tight, firm fit. So if you're not sure before you build, take your larger screw, which is pretty much used through the whole kit. You also want to take the small one that's used in the differential, as these are quite easy to strip out if you use the wrong screwdriver. So just take them down to your local hardware store if you haven't got one at home that fits correctly, and get a couple of good screwdrivers. These are the Hoodie brand tools. They're not cheap, but you know, I've had these tools for a long time, and because they are good quality, they will last for a very long time. So that's the small one that fits that one beautifully. There's no play in there, so I know it's not going to strip out. I'm going to be able to do it up properly. The other thing that is highly recommended is a pair of side cutters. That way you can trim off all the plastic parts from the trees nice and close, and you won't be left with flashing, sticking out and digging into your hands or fingers while you're trying to put it together. Then to clean up even further, you do want some sort of hobby knife. It's just an old knife I've had for years now that does a really good job for cleaning up stuff on plastic parts. Now in the kit they do give you the box wrench, which is really only used in this car for the wheels, so that's fine for that. And they give you an Allen key, which is only used for the grub screw on the pinion gear. Once again, it's fine for the job, but if you're going to be changing pinion gears, or you just want something good, get a good quality hex driver for it. That way you know it's going to be done up nice and tight, and you're going to have a lot of control over how much force you use on it. And the last thing that is not absolutely required, but definitely helpful, is a pair of curved Lexan scissors. These are designed for cutting out Lexan bodies and work really well compared to just your standard kitchen or scissors you got lying around at home. The other option is you can use your knife with a very sharp new blade and actually score around the body where you want it to cut, and then flex it, and it will snap fairly easily doing that way. Do this on some bodies if it's a really tricky area to get into, but generally a pair of these scissors, and they're not super expensive. Years ago, 20 years ago, you'd pay nearly $25, $30 for a pair of these scissors. Now you can pick them up for like $10, if that, even cheaper online, and they'll last for quite a few body shells before they wear out. There is one other thing that will make your life easier with building a kit, is to have some sort of tray. to put your parts in when you open the screw bags. It doesn't have to be a tray specifically like this. This came from out of a packaging of something or other where I was working, and it's just a good size that you've got 4 little trays there you can put all your screws and that into from the different bags. Some bowls from the kitchen, something like that will do the job as well. But I like these because it doesn't matter if there's a bit of grease or that on the in the bag. It's just a plastic container, doesn't matter. So that's just an extra little tip as something else that you can use. So that's a look through what you'll need. Next episode I'm going to start the build, so if you want to see that, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on the future build of this kit. And if you found this video informative, hit that like button, and until next time, take it easy.